So I'm not sure I explained relative pronouns the best. I've had some difficulty myself with dealing with relative pronouns. This is the first time I've had to teach them, so I haven't really had to think about them that much. So I'm doing another video. Relative pronouns. Relative pronouns introduce clauses that have the same function as an adjective. Es una ciudad que tiene mucha belleza. Es una ciudad muy bella. The relative pronoun que doesn't require a preposition when it relates to a subject or a direct object, except when the direct object requires the personal a. Relative pronouns require a preposition when they relate to any other part of the sentence that originally had a preposition. I think all of this gets a little bit confusing. So I have this activity that we're going to more than likely do in class, and I've been thinking about it a lot. So let me see here if I can. Let me move that away. And where's my... Okay, so all right, so this is the document that I had for you guys where I was going to talk to you about relative pronouns. And when talking about relative pronouns, it all has to do with the antecedent. And the antecedent is the noun, pronoun, or phrase to which the relative pronouns refer. And usually the antecedent is, it comes before where you're having to put your relative pronoun. So for example, this is the antecedent, right here. And this is the let me go back. Un restaurante, los parques, los monumentos, okay? So when there's no confusion, here I'm saying, I know a restaurant that serves Spanish wine. When there's no confusion between there's no confusion about who the subject of the sentence is, then you would use the relative pronoun que. So there's no confusion here, so I would put que. All right. Here, me gustan los parques, tienen juegos para niños. There's no confusion. I can say I like the parks that have games for kids, so I can put que. All right. Me interesan los monumentos. Están en el casco antiguo, so the monuments that are in the historic district interest me. There's no problem, there's no confusion, so I put que, okay? However, here, I can't just put que because por qué means why, and so whenever you have your relative pronoun next to a preposition, and that preposition plus that relative pronoun makes a phrase that already exists in Spanish, you can't use it because we don't want to say the neighborhoods for which one can, this is kind of hard to translate, but the neighborhoods through which one can go for a walk are very pleasing to me. I don't want to say the neighborhoods through which one can go for a walk because, I mean, you don't want it to be because, and so therefore you have to use the article, and the article is going to agree with the antecedent, or it's going to agree with the noun that is related to both of these parts of the sentence. So what's pleasing to me are the neighborhoods, and that which I can walk through are the neighborhoods, so we want our the to match our neighborhood. So me gustan mucho los barrios los que se puede pasear. Perdón, me gustan mucho los barrios por los que se puede pasear, okay? Here there's no confusion. Me gustan los suburbios that have pedestrian areas or pedestrian zones, so we put que. So most of the time, whenever you can plug in the relative pronoun that, you're going to want to put que, unless you can't, unless it makes a different statement. Okay. In, however, although in does not cause confusion, this particular preposition, whenever you have que following in, you're going to want to put the article as well. It just, whenever you have in right there, right before you're going to put your that, you're going to have to put a the between the that and the n. So es una ciudad en la que la gente se divierte, in which the people have fun. Okay, and so what's referring, both of these parts refer to the city. The city is what you're going to make agree. You're going to make your the agree with the city. So es una ciudad, and again I've got por. I can't have because here. I want to say it's a city through which I like to go for a walk when, or I like to travel through when I'm traveling to the south. Um, because porque would be why, or if you write it together because, and that's not what I want. I have to put the and to what it is referring. Your the is always going to match up with your antecedent. It's going to always match up with the noun preceding or before your relative pronoun. So the noun preceding my relative pronoun here is la. So I'm sorry, es ciudad, which is feminine, so I do la. Es una ciudad por la que me gusta pasar cuando viajo al sur. Okay, now, um, when sometimes you're going to use NK. Okay, some of those sentences, you were just plugging in the K and you were deciding whether you needed the article or not. These other sentences, sometimes you're going to have to add the preposition yourself. And this, to me, is a little complicated. It says the relative pronouns require a preposition when they relate to any other part of the sentence that originally had a preposition, yada, yada, yada. Basically, you're going to want to plug it, you're going to want to use a preposition. When you use the preposition, you're saying in which, okay? You're not saying that, you're saying in which. And that's going to happen down here because it's confusing if I don't make the in which statement, because if I say es una ciudad, perdón, es una universidad, if I put K here, I'm saying it's a university that teaches, but this enseñan is not enseña. It would have to be enseña if it was the university that was doing the teaching. It's a university in which a lot of famous professors are doing the teaching, okay? And so, therefore, I'm going to need the preposition. I'm going to need to put in with my K, and whenever I do that, I have to have the, and the always refers to the antecedent, even though there are other nouns in there, even though there are professors, it's not, it's in the university that the professors are teaching, so this in which is referring to the university, so I have to put the la. And if you can't remember that, just remember the noun that's before the relative pronoun, before the K, that's the one that your the should agree with whenever you use the. So here again, es un centro comercial, se puede comprar muchas cosas. You don't want to say it's a mall that one can buy. You want to say it's a mall in which one can buy a lot of things. And when you do that, you have to do the in, and your in, then you have to have the article. The article is going to agree with centro comercial and then K. That's how you're saying in which. Conozco unos restaurantes that eats very well. It doesn't make sense. You know a lot of restaurants in which one eats well for very little money. Okay, so because you're saying in which, you're going to need to use the in, and then your the is going to match restaurantes, your antecedent, and K. So all of your thes are matching the antecedent, which is the noun that comes at the beginning, or before, that comes before your use of the relative pronoun, and the relative pronoun is K. Oops, let me make that better. Actually, let me go back. Una universidad, that's your antecedent here. Un centro comercial, that's your antecedent here. And unos restaurantes, that's your antecedent here. So your thes, it's la because of universidad. It's el because of centro comercial. It's los because of restaurantes. Okay, and here, ciudad, here, barrios, los suburbios. So if there's no confusion, you can, and basically if you want to plug in, if you are trying to say that, and there's no confusion because of a preposition coming before the word that, you can use K as your relative pronoun. Okay. If there are the prepositions, if the prepositions en, por, sin, or para are written before that, you have to write in an article, which is el, la, los, las, before or between the preposition and the the K. All right. If you need to say in which, to make it clear, to keep it clear who the subject of a phrase is, you have to use in plus el, la, los, las, K. Okay, so it just helps you keep it clear, because if I put K here, I'm saying it's the university that is doing the teaching, and I don't want to say that. I want to say it's the university in which the professors are doing the teaching, and so that helps me keep clear who it is that's doing the teaching. And here, if I said it's a shopping center that that can buy a lot. It's not the shopping center that can buy a lot of things. It's it's the shopping center in which people can buy a lot of things. And I don't want to say I know some restaurants that eat well. The restaurants don't eat well. I know restaurants in which people eat well for very little money. So if there's no confusion, if you can say that, and there's no confusion, because there's no confusion here. I know a restaurant that serves Spanish wine. That's very clear. I can put the K. The only time when it's clear like this that I have to worry about is when I see prepositions por and para and sin. If that's the case, then I need the article between my preposition and my relative pronoun K as well. But whenever there's confusion about it, it's not clear. If you would put the K in, and that would change. It would make it so that the subject of the phrase after your relative pronoun is no longer that subject, or it just doesn't read clearly, because you don't want to say it's a university that, because if I put that means that the subject of the second part of my sentence should be the same as the antecedent, and that's not the case. Okay, so hopefully this helps with you guys understand the relative pronouns a little better.